What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another video. I'm Matt over at DSR, and today we're at Whole Shot taking out this KTM 390 Adventure. Let's get straight into it. KTM. Let's see if anything falls off or breaks today. Hopefully not, fingers crossed. The seat height is 855 and I am on tiptoes both sides, so if you are shorter, this may be an issue, just so you're aware. So this is KTM's budget friendly lightweight adventure bike. Looking at the engine in this bad boy, this has 373cc, 44 brake horsepower and 37 newton meters of torque. Obviously this bike is A2 compliant. Being a single cylinder, you are going to definitely feel more vibrations than if you're on a parallel twin. Something that you should accept if you are looking at a bike like this. I personally would love a bike like this if I was doing some kind of more harder off-road than just the open flats of Salisbury Plain. I've got the GSA, is a big beast, but on the main tracks in Salisbury, it's perfect. This thing would be ideal for something a little bit harder than just your normal roads through Salisbury Plain, your byways, your green lanes. I would love to take this off-road and kind of give it a good test, but this is just a demo ride. Don't forget that, guys. That's what my channel is about. I take out bikes, I review them, I don't own them. The only bike I own, BMW GSA. So unfortunately there will be no off-road green laning in this video, but I will do my best to tell you what it's like on road. I'm sure there's plenty of videos out there of people absolutely smashing up some off-road on this. Ooh, it's a hot one today. This bike is going to come in two different colour modes. You've got this, which is your typical kind of KTM black and orange, or you've got their, similar to their GC line, it's kind of like a blue, I'll put it on the screen, but Super Duke GT, Super Adventure, they've all that kind of got that colour scheme. I think it looks very nice. I'd have either or. This bike is going to set you back £6,500. Come on, Touareg, you can do it. You can do it. Come on. Sorry, £6,500 for this bike. In today's market, that is what we would class as budget friendly, because some of the bigger bikes, if you look at the 1290 Super Adventure, you're talking 16-17 grand for that, and other bikes are pushing up to 25. So 6.5, yeah, budget friendly. There's not enough power for you to kind of get yourself in a whole lot of trouble. Obviously you can speed on this, but if it's raining, if the road conditions aren't ideal, this bike engine is going to be spot on. You're not going to start spinning this wheel up, that's for sure. Let's look at the technology on this bike then. We do have LEDs all around, and it's taking its kind of styling from its bigger brother, the 890 Adventure and the 1290 Super Adventure. Just back from that then, we have got a 5.5 inch TFT screen. It is colour, and if you connect your phone up to the KTM Connect app, you can get turn-by-turn navigation. So you know what? On a £6,500 bike, to be able to have turn-by-turn navigation, it's nice that they've trickled it down from the top tier bikes into the lower tier. You're going to get two rider modes, and that's street and off-road. When you put into off-road, it's going to give you that ability to lock up the rear wheel, do a bit of skidding, have a bit of fun. But it is nice that they have given you the two different rider modes. Straight underneath, we do have a 12-volt socket, so if you're going to put your phone up the front for a bit of sat-nav, you can charge it. Always handy on a adventure style bike. Sometimes you're in the sticks and you got no power. You need something to charge your phone. See where you're going. You got your ABS, you got your rider modes, you do have your traction control on this, and you can go into the settings and then you can just turn it on or off. It does have a quick shift plus, and it says it's on there on the screen. Hopefully you can see that. Down, no clutch, yeah, working, cool. Up, it worked then, not then, not then. I had this with the 890 Adventure as well. Some people were saying maybe it wasn't activated. This bike, it is activated. It's worked once out of about 10 times I've gone to shit. So you tell me. I'm trying to shift and nothing. But down, yeah, it works. So I don't know if that's an issue with this or the quick shifter. Like I said, I had it with the 890 Adventure as well. The 390 Adventure is rocking KTM's WP Apex suspension. On the road, I'm 115 kilos, 6'1". It does feel quite stiff. I am feeling kind of every bump. Once again though, I am heavier than the average rider, which is set up for normally about 80 kilos. So if I was to get this bike, I would have to get the suspension kind of tuned for me and my weight. Brakes, we've got a 320mm disc at the front and a 230 at the rear. They're okay for your kind of everyday riding. What I am finding with the suspension though is when I give it a two-finger good squeeze, there's a lot of pull in the lever before nothing happens, so that would need adjusting. But then when you are getting on the brakes, the suspension really dives forward. And that's quite a common thing to see across the board with bikes with longer suspension strokes, especially ones that are kind of designed for the off-road, is that you are going to get quite a lot of front end dive. KTM on their upper tier bikes, they do have anti-dive, and it works really well, and it just kind of takes away that dipping motion. But sadly we haven't got it on the lower tier models. Understandable though with the price range. It's one of those, the more tech you want, the more they put in, the higher the price goes, the more we moan. I've only been on this seat probably less than half an hour, and I can tell you it's a hard seat. My backside is definitely feeling it. KTM are kind of notorious, I'd say, across pretty much all their range for having hard seats, probably because they offer comfort seats for most of their bikes, so they put a hard seat on it to kind of force you to get a comfort seat. So we're into the Nationals. Being that smaller engine, don't expect the world out of this bike, but if you jump on it and you don't expect much from it, actually it gives you a lot more than you would think. You do have to kind of use those gears to your advantage, get it up on the rev range. And then she definitely comes through, starts to get a little bit more lively. The brakes are pretty good on this. Just, I say the diving segment, that's all, and that initial play. But once you're into that biting zone of the brakes, they are pretty good. So I'm going to stay in fourth gear. It is a bit vibey, but then I want the responsiveness from that throttle, hence why I'm keeping it in fourth. We got to remind yourself, as this isn't the KTM 390 Duke, this is the Adventure, but you can have just as much fun on the road as the Duke is this, in my opinion. But the added bonus, obviously, is that you can do some form of off-roading on this, whereas the Duke, your knee can't bother. Handling is really nice on this, goes exactly where you want it to. It's probably helped out by the lightweight of it. It's coming in at like 179 kilos wet, which on the road means handling is going to be nice and easy, especially around town, missing potholes and children and doors. But then you get this off road, and because of that the weight is kept down, it means you can do silly things off-road, and it just handles that a little bit easier, gives you a little bit more confidence to try things out. Whereas if you're on the 1290 Adventure, the big heavy boy, you might be less inclined to try some more gnarly stuff out. Wind protection going 40 to 60 in these kind of back roads. Actually, this little screen does a pretty good job. There is some noise on the helmet, but the kind of protection, I mean, it's like eye level and up. There's not weird buffeting and there's no loud noises. It's just, yes, I can hear some wind noise, but for its overall size, it does a pretty good job. The clutch pull is really nice and light as well. Not only is that going to be good for the road, because, you know, if the quick shifter doesn't work, you're pulling the clutch, but more importantly, off-road, you want a nice light clutch, so when you're doing your slow speed maneuvering, you can just feather the clutch and just control the speed and the power a little bit easier. So this is my kind of go-to spot at the minute when I pull over to have a little walk around. I'm 6'1", and off-road, standing up, this bike is way too small. I'm having to really lean over to the handlebars. First gear, I'll tell you what, let's put it into off-road quickly, because this is just a car park, not off-road. Throttle is definitely not as snatchy, whereas when it was in street mode a second ago, first gear, that first 10% pickup with the throttle was very snatchy. Actually, it's smoothed it out because this bike is so light. You can take it easy. Clutch pull's nice, so you can get on that. Yeah, I'd love to take this off-road properly and kind of see what it could do. If you've got one of these and you take it off-road, let me know what you think of it. Is it as good as you thought when you first bought it? Let's have a little walk around and see what we think of this bike. Here we go then, let's look around this bike. Like last year, I believe, the 890 Adventure, it kind of was missing any fairing. For 2023, they fixed that and they've completed the fairing. The 390 Adventure now kind of looks the same, where the headlight is kind of just stuck on the front in comparison to this section. I'd rather they kind of follow on with the 890 Adventure and make it just one piece of fairing. We've got bark busters or knuckle guards at the front, whatever you want to call them, and also the bike will come as stock with TKC 70 tyres, so they are pretty aggressive looking, but I've had actually no issues on the road today, so good for the road and then even better for the off-road. Looking on the left hand side of the bike, you can see the coolant bottle. I feel like there's enough kind of places, enough plastic, that KTM could have hidden the coolant bottle somewhere else. That's just me. Tell me what you think. Overall though, I am a big fan of the look of this bike. I like it that manufacturers are making adventure bikes in the smaller engine, because you don't want to be taking a 1290 Adventure off-road all the time, but something like this, because of the lighter weight, actually would do pretty well off-road. What's nice to see is the rubber insert on the peg is removable, so when you're road riding, you don't want all the vibrations coming through the pegs, so you leave that in, and then when you're going off-road, take some tools with you, and then you can just undo the nut there, so then you've just got the more aggressive metal peg to kind of give you more grip on your boots. The suspension is adjustable, so it is nice to see. So if you are a little bit more inclined to tinkering with the bike and kind of playing around, actually it's really handy. No more talking, let's do some more riding. Slow speed, kind of car park handling, turning circle, really, really good. Almost too tight, barely get it into full lock, it's that tight. So whether you're a beginner rider just on their A2 license, or you're someone more experienced that's getting this to do some off-roading, slow speed manoeuvrability handling, so easy. I'm currently in off-road mode, push select, push rider mode, go off the street, push OK, and there we are, back into street mode. Here we go, nice and small. That tractor took up most of the road, easily get past. In the UK, most of our green lanes, byways, whatever you want to call them, they aren't linked, so you'll end up doing a track, you'll then have to get to the road and you have to drive or ride a few miles on road to get to the next green lane. If you live in an area where there's lots of green lanes and you're not doing masses of road miles, this is perfect. If you were doing more road miles, maybe something to consider of the 890 Adventure, but if not, this will give you everything you need, even in its little 390 engine. I wouldn't want to be doing any long distance on this, but it handles nicely because it's so light, just flicks around, and me being 6'1", the cockpit on ergonomics is actually really comfortable. Handlebars are just nicely placed in front of you, the foot pegs are in front of your hips, which means there's no pressure whatsoever on your knees. So for me, the biggest kind of gripe at the minute is how hard the seat is. There are vibrations, but like I say, single cylinder, it's kind of something you need to kind of accept and just get on with. Let me know in the comments box below, what other lightweight adventure bike would you pitch this against? Thinking through the manufacturers, Honda got the CB500X, similar price point. I would not say multi-strider V2. Yeah, let me know below, what else do you think this compares to? If you want to ride the Spirited, you definitely can, even with the TKC 70 tyres. Use the gears to their full potential, that's all I'm saying. The fueling on this is okay, so kind of around town, around the slow villages like this, where there's 20-30 mile an hour speed limits, second gear, trying to keep it at 20. If you keep it open at like 5-10%, you're okay, but it's when you come on and off the throttle, there's a little bit of engine braking, and then a little bit of jerkiness when you come back on the throttle. Third gear, so third gear is not as bad if you want to go trying like 20 mile an hour. 30, third gear, yeah, so third gear is kind of the sweet spot. Second gear, a bit too much engine braking and then a little bit too jerky on the on throttle. Yeah, my numb bum is starting to come back after jumping back on the bike. It's one of them, like, I'm enjoying the bike. I'd love to do some, say, off-roading on this, but for road use only, A, you'd have to get a comfort seat, but B, I'm not sure I would get this if I was just doing road riding. And if I was getting this to do a bit of dual, i.e. road, off-road, how far am I from the off-road segments? Do I have a lot of road to get there? If it's a yes, then I'll be looking between this and the 890 Adventure. If you've got this far, listen to me ramble on about the 390 Adventure, make sure to subscribe to the channel because we've got riding reviews coming weekly. And there's nothing else to say apart from, until the next one, ride safe.